Right now, I have the pleasure of having Dayne Kuhlmann with us of Victory Media. How are you doing, Dayne?
Doing well. How are you doing?
I'm good and super excited to get this started with you and just to hear about who you are and what your company does. Go ahead and tell us.
Yeah, Victory Media, we're an advertising agency in Spokane, Washington. We do advertising of all kinds, digital advertising, video production, websites, podcasts, all the things.
Perfect. And how did you get into that?
College, and it was kind of a family business. My uncle had an
Okay.
agency back in the day, so I went to college, got a marketing degree, and have been in it ever since.
Okay. Well, at any point, did you want to do something besides marketing, or was that just kind of like your calling their whole life?
I wanted to be the quarterback of the 49ers, but that
Okay.
that didn't work out. So
So not too bad of a backup plan now.
yeah.
Perfect. So I'm curious, how does your company offer and create fresh opportunities for your customers?
Yeah, we come at a lot of things with a very custom approach.
Okay.
We have all the resources we need in house, and we're really goal oriented. So whatever the objectives of the client are, we're able to find ways to deliver. We have a couple TV shows that we produce, and those TV shows aren't just content for TV, but they're drivers to the website or driver to an e-commerce
Okay.
platform or things like that. So really just by taking a holistic approach.
Okay. And then what does your ideal like customer or client look like? Who's usually the ones working with you?
I'd say, medium regional type businesses
Okay.
where we can support their marketing efforts. A lot of clients, we are their marketing arm,
Hmm.
or we either act as their marketing director or we work with their marketing team. So
Okay. And so sounds like you kind of cover everything in marketing. It's not necessarily something specific. It sounds like whatever they need marketing wise is what you all can fill in.
pretty much, yeah.
Okay, perfect. And so, as we know, marketing, there's a lot of creativity, so there can be a lot of flexibility. How do you leverage that flexibility to constantly think outside the box?
Yeah, I think really it's eliminating the box, right?
Hmm.
There's so many shiny objects. There's so many different ways to get a message out. It's leveraging what you already do best, or what the message
Hmm.
is. Is it something that's really good with voice? Is it something that's really good on TV? And then you know knowing what that objective is on the other end. Is our objective to drive traffic? Is our objective to
Okay.
brand? Is our objective, whatever that is, we can create something custom. Like I said, we weren't in the business of making TV shows, but
Right.
we made a TV show in order to drive traffic for an e-commerce business, and it worked. So
Okay. So then there's also just like we may not have tried it before. It's not usually what we do, but we'll go with the idea and see what we can come up with.
oh yeah, you got to be bold and crazy.
Absolutely. And so I'm curious, just from your own personal opinion, your experience, what is your favorite part of the process when it comes to marketing? What is just something that I want to get my hands on? I want to do this. I don't want to delegate to other people. That's just what I love.
Yeah, it is that idea, right?
Hmm.
I mean, it's it's that initial bit of here's our objective and here's the traditional way of getting there. What's a more effective way that nobody's done it before? And we have those, we call them Scotch and socks meetings.
Okay.
And we sit down and kind of dream and play stuff out and draw stuff out and see how stuff pencils and experiment and do beta testing and uh, see what happens. But being able to work with people that are willing to be bold, and
Yeah.
I kind of want to say take risks, but a lot of times doing something that other people aren't doing that will drive those isn't as risky as doing what everybody else is doing.
True. True. Rather than trying to go with something that's kind of like obsolete anyways. And it's honestly a harder challenge, right? It's like, let's just try something different.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
so as far as the scotch and socks, what is the socks part? We didn't go over that.
You don't wear shoes.
Okay, that's what I figured. What are you supposed to wear? Like really fun, cool socks? Is that what it is too? Or
I generally do wear cool socks. It
okay,
started, we had, uh, actually, our old office, we used to be in this shared, really corporate-y space that it was
okay.
super not conducive for what we were doing. And we were having a creative meeting, and I was just like, this is not going to work.
Hmm.
And so I walked away, and I took my shoes off, and I was like, I need some scotch. And so I poured some scotch, and I started walking around this professional office in my socks and Scotch, and we came up with a campaign. And so that kind of became the running. Doesn't always involve Scotch, and sometimes
That's
it
what was my
involves
next
shoes.
question. Okay.
Yeah, but we represent a beer brand and we represent a winery, so that, I mean, there's generally something involved.
Right. Even if it's not Scotch. I'm
Yeah.
glad there's fun socks too. I feel like that could be a thing where it's like, okay, who has the coolest socks today for the best, ideas and innovation.
Yes.
And so what would you say is the secret sauce of your company to separate you from the rest of the industry? As we know, there's a lot of people in marketing, a lot of businesses. What separates your business?
Um, that's a loaded question. I think a lot. I mean, the answer I would default to is the
Mhm.
people. I mean, we have some really,
Okay.
really talented, amazing people that are just so good at what they do. I mean, we have 15 people that all each in
Mhm.
of themselves could run their own business in their own niche. And so our people is definitely one of our biggest differentiators, but also our ability to think outside the box and
Mhm.
be a little weird and crazy, and but balance it, make it weird and crazy, but make it work.
Absolutely. And so I'm also curious as far as when you do work with certain clients, is there kind of just a big range as far as how long you work with them? Is it sometimes just a few months? Is it sometimes a few years? What does that kind of look like?
It's generally long-term relationships.
Okay.
I mean, we do projects when projects come, or like a scoped campaign, we'll absolutely do that, but in general it's their long-term relationships.
Okay. And so is that kind of a preference where it's a year? So it sounds like you're really with them building something, not only business wise, but relationship wise as well.
Yeah, no, it's very relational. It's very give and take. We have to. I do believe that in marketing, you can't just come up with a plan. I hate giving someone a proposal before I get to know them.
Hmm.
People are like, "Hey, we would need a website. Give us a proposal." I was like, I don't. I want to get in. I want to, get
Hmm.
into the business, see what they actually want, see what they actually need, um, and be able to bounce those ideas and how we can leverage that. Because a lot of times, when it's transactional, it's not always as effective, and
Right.
that reflects on both sides. That reflects for both the client and us as an agency.
And so for our interested listeners, what then would that first kind of step look like? Like you said, you don't want to just have a proposal. What is it? Is there a meeting as far as just to talk about each other? How does that first steps work for becoming your client?
Yeah, it's just a meeting. Generally it's talking through objectives and seeing what the fit is, and what they're trying to accomplish.
Hmm.
Uh, budget isn't always. Budget's not a limiter, but budget's definitely a big part of it. I mean, if you have this
Okay.
grandiose plan that you want to do, then budget
Oh,
becomes
for
really
the
important to say, well, we can do it as thrifty as possible.
yeah.
Um, but making sure that they know you can't, in some regards you get what you pay for, even though I think you get
Hmm.
more with us because we have everything in house.
Okay.
But yeah, it's that initial conversation, and our company logo is actually a coffee ring, because that's how our business was developed, just having coffee
Okay.
and talking to people, and finding out where it made sense for us to work together. And a lot of times it doesn't make sense, and we love to refer to the other businesses that we know that it does make sense.
Okay.
Yesterday we met with a guy, and I was like, I don't think that, like, I really like you. I like what you're doing. I think you'd be better, going with one of these other two businesses. And I mean, we'll do it, but I,
Right.
there, sometimes it's better to go specialized, and sometimes it's better to go out of the box. And
Right.
so,
And I think that's so important too, where then it shows like you're really trying to make it about the customer. It's like we just want what's best for you, and that's not always going to be us and our services.
yeah, yeah. If we just made, and that's where it's relational, but if we just
Hmm.
made it transactions and we just made
You
it,
just take it, right?
getting as many projects, yeah, then
Hmm.
that's not going to be sustainable. So I want to be around a while. I want to retire here. So here.
I want that for you as well. And so please tell us about your podcast that's starting to hit the ground running.
Yeah, about 3 years ago we started it. It's called the Pursuit of Awesomeness,
Okay.
and it was really just for fun. It was just getting people together and talking about. It was like I made this jump from the corporate world to starting
Hmm.
my own agency, and then once I did that, all these people came out of the woodwork like, I did that too, and everyone wanted to tell their story. So it started there. It took about a 2-year hiatus, and
Mm.
then about 2 months ago there's a girl in the town that I'm from that she has a terminal diagnosis, and
Okay.
that, there's been a whole bunch of things in the community about, it's called Cure for Cat, and she's been
Yeah.
a really awesome advocate, and we became friends, and she's like, I want to get out there and just tell my story. And I was like, well, I could kind of start the podcast again, and maybe she's like, I would love that. I would love that.
Mm.
And so we got back into it, and we've been trying to do 1 or 2 a week, and I think right now we're booked through January or February. And it's just conversations about people that have done really cool things. Last week we talked to a guy who, he wrote a book, and it's his first book, and he's a great agency and business owner and just wants to share. So
What a
yeah,
great
we're
reason to
moving
start it
down in
back
that road.
up. Yeah, what a great reason to start it again. That's amazing. And so, for any of our listeners who do want to be a guest on your podcast, where should they go in order to do so?
Email me. You can email me at Dayne, Dayne, at govictory.agency. And yeah, would love to hear and tell stories.
Perfect. Well, like I said, you did switch from the corporate world. You now have your own company. Where is your vision for the next few years for your company and even for yourself? And what do you plan on doing to accomplish that?
Yeah, we've grown substantially over the last year.
Okay.
And so really the next couple of years, I want to stabilize and really I think you kind of got to go through those steps as a business, as you grow and then you stabilize, and, you catch up in the system. So a lot of it is we want to keep with the momentum that we have, but very much want to stabilize a lot of our processes. And honestly, we don't want to grow that much bigger for like 2021. We don't want to grow. We just want to continue to do better at our core.
Okay.
But we're also looking at some other ventures that coincide with what we do. Some, using our process and things like that. So looking at the podcast space, looking at some merch partnership spaces and some things like that are already aligned with our clients. So.
Okay. And I like that different answer too, as far as just trying to have the internal and core growth, like you said, because I think a lot of people are like, just want more sales, more profits. And sounds like you want something a little bit deeper to eventually have that long-term success.
Yeah. Like I said, you have to have, it's a 20+ year plan, or you can't even put an end on it. It's not let's make as much as we can now or anything like that. So we've seen a lot of really great organic growth, which has been really, really exciting. Yeah. And we just want to make sure that we take the best care of those people. And in the agency world, I've seen a lot of agencies like get the momentum, grow and just grow so fast, and they lose their heart, they lose their quality, they lose, what made them great. So I'm trying to not repeat those mistakes. Yeah.
Of course. And so you mentioned as far as where to go for more information for the podcast, but where should listeners go just for overall information about Go Victory and for Victory Media and for you as well?
Yeah, govictory.agency is our website. You can see a lot of our projects and things we've been working on there. Facebook and Instagram, Go Victory Media, or at Go Victory Media. LinkedIn's a great place. I have a really complicated to spell name, so if you can fit it, hopefully you have it typed somewhere.
Hopefully typed somewhere, yes.
you can figure it out. But just add Dayne Kuhlmann, and I love to share and collaborate with people.
Well, Dayne Kuhlmann, thank you so much for sharing all that today and joining us.
Oh, thank you very much.